This is gonna be my video on my overdependence on hypomania. To start things off, hello, I'm Snow, I'm 26, and I'm a full-time crochet artist, freelance pixel artist, and psychology student. I'm in first year for my prerequisites for my master's degree. I'm only going to talk about the bipolar 2 here, even though I have bipolar 2 and BPD, because that's just generally where the hypomania comes from, and I just mentioned the BPD for context in case some people will wonder why it's kind of leaking in, but I don't know, I hope it doesn't. So I wrote a script for this, that's why I'm like looking up there, because I'm very bad at speaking, and this is like my how manyth take of this video. I usually just write. Okay, so quick backstory, I'm gonna fully read this and concentrate so I don't trip over my words. I was misdiagnosed with depression at age 14. Oh, trigger warning, by the way, for suicide and self-harm. There's nothing graphic in it, but I do mention it. I was medicated with typical antidepressants till I was 16 while in and out of psych wards for self-harm. Dropped out of high school due to the severity of my symptoms. Exploded into a very destructive hypomanic episode, possibly aggravated by the wrong medication I was taking. Shortly after that led to a suicide attempt. I got checked into rehab for 6 months. During those 6 months, I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder after weekly therapy, which really didn't surprise me because it runs in the family. In the many therapy sessions with my therapist Fred, who has since passed away, to mine and very many other people's sadnesses, we found that the main root of my struggles was fear of abandonment due to neglect by my father, and subsequently fear of abandonment from my mom if I did not meet her expectations of me, but also that only really stemmed from my father and the fear of that. Okay, abandonment issues are very BPD, but anyway, all of these were exacerbated by the extreme lows of my bipolar depression, and back then my hypomania was still not under control, so like the anger would really explode out of me like a bomb, you know, it was terrible. So that's the backstory. That was very long. I'm sorry. So flash forward to the topic of this video, the overdependence on my hypomania. Now that I'm 26 and like my prefrontal cortex is developed and I'm on correct medication, regular therapy, and surrounded by people who love and care for me, my hypomania has since become less destructive and has become just like a surge of energy and productiveness and inspiration to better my life and fix my depression. But like that's the problem. I'm considerably more depressive than hypomanic. It's like a 70-30 ratio, I would say. So I'm just constantly waiting for the next hypomanic episode to come, and then when it does, it lasts like 2 weeks at most. And here's what those 2 weeks looks like in a pros and cons list. Pros: a lot of energy and motivation to do my work, creativity shoots up like crazy, my apartment's really clean, elation all the time, and I love life outlook, and lots of social plans without the introverted depression after, which might not just be an introvert thing, it might just be because I'm depressed and tired. But the cons are I hardly sleep, I get like a 3-hour amount of sleep a night, I don't really eat, I overspend on things for my very many big ideas when I have my hypomanic episodes, and then I make a lot of declarative statements about how I'm going to turn my life around, and that gets thrown out the window as soon as the hypomania is done, which is affecting my relationship with my partner because I just keep going back on my word that I'll change my habits and my bad behaviors. Not terrible, but just like bad habits that I've developed and haven't really grown out of. And anyway, after that, after the hypomania, I'm like super depressed, and then I bail on everything I had so happily laid out for myself to do, bail on my big ideas, go back on my word to change, as I said, return to feeling hopeless about my future, exhausted all the time, just terrible, everything that depression entails. This leads back to the hypomania waiting game. Instead of continuously trying to heal and get better when I'm depressed, I just try to trigger a hypomanic episode sooner. I try to sleep as little as possible. I drink so much coffee. I lessen without permission my anti-hypomania meds because I'm on mood stabilizers, both for focused on lessening the depression and lessening the hypomania. So I just basically take more of the the regular amount of the depression one, but then the hypomania one I lessen without my doctor knowing. Don't do that. It's just really not healthy, and in my logical brain I know it's just making the depressive state worse, but my desperation brain and sad brain is like saying, hey, it worked sometimes, right? So you might as well try to be hypomanic again with these like bad habits. This isn't to say I completely stop trying when I'm in a depressive state. I still go to therapy and all of that, and I really do try my best not to fall into spiral pits, but then I really just find myself waiting and waiting for the hypomania season to hit for that 2 weeks, just so I feel some sort of relief and energy. So here's some general advice. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm also not a therapist yet, or hopefully it will be in the future, but I'm still just a psych student in her first class. But how I try to remedy the waiting is I force feed myself melatonin at night, just so that I can sleep when I'm trying not to sleep, to try to trigger hypomania. So instead of like writhing around in bed attempting not to sleep, I really just knock out, you know. I force feed myself the medicine I need to take and in the correct doses. As much as I don't really want to, you should take your meds. If you are prescribed them, please take them. And then the harder ones are, I try to be present in my depression, which sounds a little weird, but what I mean by that is just I just try to radically accept that I am where I am, and that's just how the depressive season works. And any attempts to manipulate it are bad for my physical and mental health. The second is I build up habits I can do in spite of the depression, but making sure that none of these are to the standard of my hypomania capacity, you know, because my therapist says the standard of performance in a day varies every single day, even for non-bipolar people, and that's perfectly okay. If you build yourself up to be God-level performance every day, you're just setting yourself up to be disappointed in yourself, or in my case, just like shame and guilt and anger and extra disappointment, and like a why try if it's not gonna happen anyway. And in relation to number 2, I try to avoid all or nothing thinking, or like black and white thinking, which I'm kind of prone to because of the BPD, the borderline part, but I don't really want to get into that because that's maybe for another time if I ever make another video. Again, I keep looking to this side. I'm so sorry. I'm exceptionally prone to just thinking this way, and I'm really bad at it, and I don't really have any sound advice on how to do it, on how to not think in black and white. I'm trying to overcome seeing my hypomania as good and my depression as bad. I'm just trying to look at them neutrally. So maybe that's something you can do if you're struggling with the same thing. But honestly, the black and white thinking thing is really hard to get over. Like, I just have to neutralize my look on things. Okay, yeah, I don't really know what the point of this video was. Maybe it's just practice for me talking on camera, and I know I was like rambling a lot and possibly talking really fast and awkwardly, but yes, I hope you got something from that, some insight on bipolar 2, and I don't know, make you feel less alone maybe. Yeah, okay, bye.